Hey guys, I had a question on how I made these cute little stretchy tiebacks. So I just wanted to make a tutorial-ish thing so I can kind of show you how I do it. So what you need are pieces of jersey fabric. I get mine from fabric.com and stylishfabric.com. And I just get a yard of fabric. I don't do two. Because, well, if you want to know why, I can make a video about that, but that's just how I set up my bag. I don't like a ton of fabric, and I have my reasons for that. But anyway, so you need your jersey. You need some moss, and I got this at Joann's, I think it was, and it was like $6 or $8 for the container, or the bag, I mean. And I picked it out because it has quite a few different styles of moss in it. You need your glue gun. You can use little bits of like things that you already have, like if you have a wool wrap, or if you have some burlap, or ribbons, or things like that. You need toothpicks. This is all in a really bad order, but whatever. And then I used some beads. These are just beads that I picked up from Joann's. And then probably the key part, other than the moss, is the little paper flowers. These are from Joann's too. Oh no, these are from Hobby Lobby, and they are the scrapbooking flowers. You find them in the scrapbooking section. I'm like ridiculously out of breath from bending over. That's nice. Anyway, they are the scrapbooking flowers. So they're not fake flowers, although you can use, or like fabric flowers. You can use those too, but I like the paper ones. And these are actually like $5, but Michael's or Hobby Lobby? I don't know what I'm even talking about. Hobby Lobby has them for like half off all the time, so I got those for like $2.50, so it's fairly cheap to do this. So anyway, let me show you how I do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is take your piece of fabric, and like I said, these are just a yard. I don't do much more than that. And it needs to be a stretchy fabric. So those are called knits or jerseys. And this has a 4-way stretch, which means it stretches this way, and if you flip it around, it also stretches that way. So in all directions, basically, it stretches. And I cut off of the, this blanket is still wet because it got pooped on yesterday. It's not wet from poop, though. It's wet from being washed. So I cut from the side that's only 3 feet long. And I can get 2 tie backs out of that because I don't like a really long tie because I don't show it. I just tuck it back behind their head. So you'll cut that off, and you want it to be about, I guess this is like about 1.5 inches thick or so. If you cut it too thin, that's what you have to watch for. If you cut it too thin, it won't do the little like rolling on the sides. So after you cut it, you want to take it and you want to stretch it like a ton, like really stretch it like you're trying to rip it, but don't fully rip it. And that stretching and the kind of like snapping it a little bit and bouncing it, well, not bouncing, but you know, like just going like that, that will help get the sides to roll up. And then you can unroll them a little bit and put your decorations on there. Another thing you have to think about when you're making these, like I'm going to show you on my head, but if, not my style, but if you want the stuff to go in the center when you put it on, then you know, you just want to find your center. But if you want it to go, when you put it on, the stuff is going to be sitting to the side. You have to think about when you make it, what side you photograph babies on. Like, do you have them photographed laying on their right side or their left side? Because you'll photograph with their head going towards your light source, like the top of their head. It's hard to describe, but I think you know what I'm talking about. So make sure when you pick what side you're going to put it on, it will not line up, but it will end up where you want it when you put it on your baby. So after you have it cut and stretched, then you want to start gluing. Now, I don't know if that's how everybody does it, but that's how I did it because I didn't feel like taking the time to sew everything on there. So, hang on one second. So when you actually do this, you want to have like a piece of paper towel under you because the glue might seep through a little bit. I didn't really have any problem with that, but just in case. So rather than taking my gun and just squirting the glue right on or squirting the gun or the glue onto the delicate moss, what I did was I just took a toothpick and I had the glue like out on a plate. Or maybe I just squirted it onto the toothpick. I think that's what I did. I don't really remember. But I got the glue on the toothpick and then put it onto the fabric because you don't want a ton of glue, and you have to work quickly. But before you do any gluing, should have said this because it's the really big important thing. So before you glue, you want to take everything and lay it out on your piece of fabric. Before you glue. You want to know, like, have an idea of how you want it placed. And that's a really big piece of moss, but I can't break it up with one hand. And the way I recommend doing it is breaking the moss up. So, hang on. You want to break the moss up into separate pieces so you can stick the flowers on kind of in between the moss. But put them close enough that there's not gaps. But then it will lay flatter than if you were trying to like stick the flowers up on top of the moss, if that makes sense. Because you don't want it to look bulky on a little baby head. So you would just lay out with the moss and the flowers, whatever color combination you wanted. And then I would just glue on a few beads. I have, of course, I didn't open this beforehand. I have these little white wooden beads. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to... Oh, there we go. Again, everything is just from Michael's and Joann's. I really like these white wooden beads because they're not shiny. I don't know. I don't really like shiny stuff on these, although I did put a few sort of shiny ones on this blue one. And keep in mind when you're doing this that, like, these are not something, these are a decorative piece. They're not going to be very sturdy. So just glue carefully and put your beads in at the end, like for little embellishments. You can do, instead of moss, you can do wool or something. And then as you're going, like, keep an eye out for little bits of the hot glue because there'll be strings. So just try to, like, take those out as you go. And I think that's everything. So yeah, that's basically how I make those. I think I covered everything. If anything wasn't clear or I missed a step or something, just let me know. If you have any questions, ask. If you want to know more about how I set up the bag, and why I only use 1 yard of fabric instead of a bigger piece of fabric, I can do a tutorial about that, or not a tutorial really, but you know, whatever. Yeah, so I think that's everything. Have fun making your headbands, and don't forget to give your vendors love, even though you can make these yourself. Because I'm a big proponent of when you're first starting out, you don't need to spend a lot of money on props. But there are really amazing vendors out there who do really amazing artwork in their pieces. Like these that I make are just kind of, you know, so I have them. They're not really great. They're just okay. And right now I have more time on my hands. When you're busier, definitely outsource the making of your props to other people because they're really talented people who can do that. So, yeah, have fun. Happy newborn photographing, I guess. However you want to say that. And yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know.